Should we hold or should we sell? Well, that's the next big question. So let's look at the rentals in these areas. Can we afford to hold these things if we build them and keep them for 2 years to ride the market uplift? Well, on the Bly one, what are they renting for? They're basically renting for around about $290 a week. So should we hold or should we sell? Well, you shouldn't have done it in the first place, because there's no money in it. You might break even on that one, at best. You probably won't by the time you got your costs in and out, etc. And if you keep it, like the dumb investors do that negatively gear, you'll have a nice loss to claim every year. What about in the ponds? Where were we with that one? We've got the rental there of $630 per week. So should we hold or should we sell? Sell? What if we did a dual lock instead of a single house? See, this is the difference. There, you can see there I've got there the costs, the cost to build and the cost you could have got it for back then. If you'd bought it back in 2012, your cost base is probably going to be around $530. If you did it today, your cost base is probably going to be around $630. When we start looking at, if at a single rental, it's still not going to be positive. Roughly on the figures today, it's probably going to be about 10, 12 grand negative cash flow. Is that what you really want? How much do you think it's going to grow in the coming years? Maybe not. But if we did a dual lock, which doesn't seem to be coming up on my things there, no, it's actually on your schedules there. It is. It's actually $850 if you did a dual lock. So something like this one, as an example, same costs. Your $850 would be your rental on it. So if we'd bought back at a couple of years ago at our $530 cost base, and we could rent it at $850, are we positive? You're close at interest rates now. When interest rates go to 8.5, no, you're going to be negative. But you're close enough to probably be able to afford to hold. How would we do that? Why did I pick this design? Now, I just picked one of the project builders' designs, okay? I'm not saying this is the best by any stretch of the imagination. But how would I turn that into a dual lock? Change that front entry. Look at that. That little block that I've got there could very easily be turned into a one bedroom. You'd have to change the internal layout a little bit, but not majorly. Put a door in there so your entrance goes in. You've got one entrance into the one bedroom, and then you've got an entrance into the 3 bedroom at the back.
When it comes to this style of development where you're building for the future, okay? So it doesn't mean that you can go in there tomorrow. It doesn't mean you can build it and then rent it legally. If you can't do it legally, then don't do it. Though you're building this with fire-rated walls in position, knowing that in the future that there's councils across the country that are changing these rules. So in the last 6 to 9 months, you've had 2 councils, so Ipswich and Logan, have come on board with granny flats and ancillary buildings, though you do need private open space with that. And that means space that this granny flat can get access to. It can be anywhere from 12 square metres up to 42 square metres of outside space. Northern Territory's just come on board as well with granny flats. That's been released in the last couple of months. So just be sure that when you're building these, you're building them and you're telling the engineers and everyone and the builders involved that you want a fire rated box. You're not going to rent it as it is right now because you may not be able to. Then when they change the rules and regulations, you go back to the certifiers or surveyors and you say to them, I want this changed. And they'll say, well, you need fire engineering, you need private open space, you need all of that. You can just hand them over documentation that it was all done when it was originally built, and it'll just be a paper shuffle then.
So what you're doing in the states that you can't do it right now, or the councils that you can't do it right now, is you're setting yourself up for the future, I believe, when the rules change. It's not if, it's when. But obviously New South Wales is great, Northern Territory on board, WA's on board, and some councils in Queensland are on board where that's going to be very possible for you.
And I've got now to the stage where I'm retired on what I've done in real estate. So only because of real estate. Now I don't never have to work the rest of my life, and I'm not rich yet, but rich enough to retire, and I want to get richer. And I can only do that through real estate and having a mentor that has a broader knowledge that Dymphna does have.